Dear Craffoldians, Marko Miladinović is with you today. Welcome to a new lesson on non-metallic metal that is a second part of Saurus Champion tutorial. Starting with the base tone for the metal parts, I will underpaint a dark red tone, a mix between Prussian blue and primary red. Make sure to cover all of the surface nicely and evenly. The tones of the mix can vary for better volume definition, but we don't want to leave primer visible, and most importantly, the base tone will also be a shed value. Therefore, it needs to be darker in values than the midtones and highlights. The previous layer is base tone, but also it will serve as an underpainting for all the upcoming layers. By underpainting role, I want to say that this base tone will have an effect on my next overlapping layers. As you can notice, thinner layers tonal application is darker in value than a thicker one. This is because a thinner layer overlaps. It has a transparency that shows the base tone from underneath. This transparency changes the hue of the overlapping layers and harmonizes it with background tone. In more repetition, the layers get dense and it gets stronger in tonal value. Those are the midtones, done in yellow ochre. Now I'm adding primary yellow in the mix, gradually brightened by the white paint, to place the layers of highlights. These highlight layers overlap as well. In stronger opacity, it leaves the stronger coverage and clear tone, while in lower opacity it is toned down and it harmonizes with midtones. Let's repeat all of that now with the shield. And now keep in mind that this is much bigger surface to tackle. I start with upper angle source of light, adding mix of yellow ochre with pinch of primary red used for the base tone. I added red for more variety and contrast of tones. First applying thinner layers, more transparent, that are changing the hue due to the base tone underneath. Continuing with thin opacity in repetition, describing the light placement, shapes in order to define the surface. Adding light placement as a shape over the ornament areas, leaving the opposite side in base tone as shade. Framing everything by painting edges of those ornaments. To create more ambience, on the opposite side of the shield, I applied more of the greenish yellow tones, in contrast with reddish side. For this, I added spring green, yellow ochre and primarily yellow, gradually highlighting with adding a white paint. Same procedure of adding a light placement, keeping the opposite side as a base tone, shade and framing the edges. Using first thin layers, gradually boosting the opacity by repetition or density of paint. With overlapping layers of midtones and highlights, I create a gradient between base tone and strongest highlights. Even as a red and green reflection are in a clash, I make more connection between them with yellow highlights, keeping them in harmony as reflection on the shield surface. Let's take a quick look at how this palette appears on smaller surface. Starting with wider highlights in the middle, spreading over the edges. This light reflection gradually shrinks in size and it goes brighter in value. With effective light placement and good contrast, you can achieve a convincing and shiny metal surface in any shape. Let's see how it works over the triangular or cone shape. I am gradually brightening the top as the sharpest part, first bringing the midtones, pushing them toward the highlights. Those light reflections spread over the edges of the shape, framing it. As I am applying a brighter value, I am lowering the area of application, leaving the smallest, sharp light reflection as a final highlights, achieving effect of strong light reflection, sharpness or smoothness of the surface. When it comes to painting precious stones and gems, the rule of contrast is the same. To make them look shiny, I need a strong contrast. Also, to make a sphere shape pop out, I need to make a good placement of light reflection. Light reflection is in sphere shape, coming from the top side angle or top, spreading around as it would describe the edge of the sphere. Boosting the shape definition, the strongest highlights are almost at the center of the sphere, on the most pop-out surface. Let's paint little ropes. Keeping the base stone as shades, I only added midtones and highlights over the rope texture, using the tip of my brush. When it comes to wooden texture, for this piece I will add the texture of wooden rings. I decide on their path and draw the little texture with the tip of my brush. In a thin layer, slowly increasing the opacity. Once again, I define the shapes with painting edges. And now, quick visit to the nail salon. And let's paint the base. Using wet blending technique, I added brown tones and mixed them toward greens in the area with more vegetation. To connect base tone with character, further I use ambience illumination tone, yellow warm tones, and highlighted base ornaments toward those warmer values. That is all for today's lesson, everyone. Both Aleksandra and I hope you enjoy it. Share your work with us at our Discord channel and social medias, and of course, stay tuned for more. Marko Miladinović signing off.